Am I the asshole for giving my sister 30 days notice per the rental agreement she gave me? So, my friend, F23, and I, F22, found a house that gives us our own space. I currently rent from my sister a studio apartment. My sister, F26, has been talking about wanting to move her boyfriend once his lease is done by next year. Her boyfriend lives an hour away. She offered to take me with her and let me rent again, but I'd be an hour from work if I went, and the traffic is bad there, so it would be even longer. We applied for the application, got the lease last night, so he told my sister last night. She gets mad at us and says we lied to her about looking to move. I never lied to her and informed her that if there was a house that had the space I want, I'd pick that over moving with her, and told her I was looking at houses in the area with my friend. She's claiming we screwed her over and are leaving her with the responsibility of taking care of bills she can't afford. She makes a lot more than me, which is why this house with more room makes more sense. I'd be paying less for more than I have now. She is being passive-aggressive and giving us silent treatment because she feels we did her wrong. But we gave her 30 days notice as any normal roommate situation would be, and are paying extra rent to make up for how long we'd stay before having to move. I truly wonder if I've done something wrong and hurt her, because I love my sister a lot. Am I the asshole? If you never committed to moving with her next year, and you also let her know you were looking for something local, then you've done nothing wrong. Sis assumed you'd move with her, but had no regard for the travel and traffic you'd take on by doing so. In that you provided 30 days notice and aren't stiffing her on the rent, you're solid. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Your sister is losing some extra income and is pissed about that. You're not even a consideration for her. Not the asshole. Your sister had a very specific idea about what she planned to do and expected that you would do it. She didn't want to hear you when you told her something that challenged her narrative, and now she's angry because she has to figure out something else. It's also possible she's upset that she won't be able to see you as often. You gave her plenty of notice, she's just pissed she'll need to find new tenants. I'm sure you and your friend were convenient and not much work on her end. Not the asshole. You told her up front you were looking. She might feel hurt, but you followed the rules of your rental. She just needs to come to terms with it. If she's acting like a child and giving you the silent treatment, it's a win for you. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for what I said to my fiance's dad's wife? My fiance, 27 male, and I, 26 female, are engaged, and right now we're still planning our wedding. I'm walking down the aisle with my two brothers since our parents are both sadly passed, and my fiance wants to have his older sisters walk him since he doesn't see why we both can't walk. And he wanted to include them as much as possible. He also wants to dance with them during our reception. His dad's wife discovered this and wanted to be the one walking him down the aisle and dancing with him. But my fiancé, and both of his sisters actually, have not got the best relationship with this woman. While their relationship with their dad is pretty okay. Not very close but not super distant either. But his wife is another story. My fiancé first met her when he was 10 and his sisters were 13 and 15. Their mom died a year earlier, which their dad's decision to remarry that fast did add some strain to their relationship because they don't feel like he considered them at all. When my fiancé met her he thought she was okay, but by the time the wedding was approaching he realized she wanted to be more of a mother to him. She wanted the girls as her bridesmaids and my fiancé, her son, to walk her down the aisle. None of them wanted to do this. After the wedding, when she wanted my fiancé to allow her to step into the role of mother for him, it grew more tense and unfriendly. My fiancé felt like she forced the issue too much. She felt like he should have been more accepting of a second mother in his life. The tension grew when she realized she was truly not even seen as second best by him, but was not seen as anything beyond his dad's wife. His dad's wife already requested he let her walk him and dance. He clearly said no. There was a fight over her feeling like his mother and him laying down the fact he has never considered her to be anything of a mother to him. When she couldn't get through to him, she tried to go through me. Using the fact I was adopted and my parents adopted me to do this. She told me I know all about blood, not meaning parent. Which is true, I do. My fiancé doesn't feel this way because his mom was biologically related to him. But because she was there for him and she was the one who raised him. Which is how I feel about my parents, and it's a whole thing. I told her it was my fiancé's decision and I would not force him to do anything he doesn't want to. She told me for the future of my future family I must and I should as a woman who has no genetic family. This got under my skin and I told her that she is not winning any points with me by talking to me like that and that I would never betray my fiancé for her. I also told her she needed to back off and accept that she does not have a place in their hearts and forcing herself onto them will not help. She was furious with me and called me a bad daughter-in-law. Then she texted me about it afterward and told me I owe her an apology. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. You were right to protect and honor your fiancé's wishes. This is absolutely his decision, nobody else. I am curious though if the place in their heart comments a bit nuclear. Do they not care about her at all, or just not see her as a parent? Not the asshole. What she said about you and your parents was actually pretty horrible and invalidating of adoption. But she could be the loveliest person on the planet and still your fiancé does not see her as a mum figure. His is the only opinion that counts. Not the asshole. This woman is a bully and has forced her way into this family during a traumatic time. She is overbearing when she doesn't get her way. You and your fiancé need a united front at all times with this woman and firm boundaries. No, is a complete sentence. Don't engage with people like this. I assure you, anything you say can and will be used against you. When it comes to your fiancé's relationship with the stepmom, don't get in the middle. I'm sorry, you'll need to take this up with my fiancé. But, I'm sorry, no. And you and your future husband would be wise to read up on dealing with overbearing people. This behavior will continue unless you stomp it out. Good luck and congrats on your pending nuptials. Be prepared to eject her from your wedding if she starts acting out. Not the asshole. I'm adopted, although I never use that word for my parents that have also passed. I know exactly why she got under your skin. Text your back. You're not his mother, so I'm not your daughter-in-law. Don't ever bring up my adoption. Those were my parents. You are not his parent cause of your actions. Block her. Not the asshole. I told her it was my fiancé's decision and I would not force him to do anything he doesn't want to. Absolutely. It's totally right you support him, honor his wishes and have his back. She told me for the future of my future family I must and I should as a woman who has no genetic family. She had no right to say that to you. Sorry you were treated like that. Although looking at her track record as an insensitive bully I'm not surprised. Then she texted me about it afterward and told me I owe her an apology. You don't owe her anything. It's the other way round. Not the asshole. Time to draw the line. She either stops or is not invited to the wedding altogether. Am I the asshole for not reacting properly to my friend group's surprise Airbnb booking? Context: every year our friend group hosts a secret Santa event. A major part of this tradition involves booking an Airbnb where most of us, around 12 people, plan to stay, though not everyone ends up sleeping there. Typically, we spend a few hours on Discord searching for Airbnbs that meet our criteria, location, capacity, budget, etc., and bookmarking options for further review. This year, our entire friend group followed the usual process, spending hours searching through listings and bookmarking potential choices to revisit later. Then, about 2 weeks ago, half of the group, let's call them Group B, suddenly stopped communicating with us, Group A, and went completely silent on Discord for an entire week. This abrupt change left Group A confused, prompting us to ask questions about what was going on and why Group B had stopped communicating with us. Suddenly, a few days later, Group B's main planner, the person who typically leads our event coordination, announced that he had booked a surprise Airbnb that was within budget and located in a great area. While Group A appreciated the effort, we requested more details, wanting at least some basic information about the place. However, the planner refused to provide any specifics, repeatedly responding with, "Trust me," and informing us that each participant would need to contribute $60, more details on that later. As days passed, Group A grew increasingly confused and uneasy about this Airbnb, which we were expected to help pay for, without any assurance or photos of what we were actually funding. Then, a friend close to some members of Group B, we'll call him Jay, let us know that the planner had recently purchased a house where everyone in Group B would be moving in. While we recognized this as an impressive feat for Group B, we were still confused by their continued insistence on presenting it as an Airbnb that we needed to contribute $60 per person toward. With this information, Group A tried to get confirmation from Group B, but they wouldn't budge, even as the secret Santa event came closer. Jay also told us that part of the so-called surprise was that we wouldn't actually need to pay anything, since the planner owned the house. Finally, last night, Group B revealed the truth. They had moved into a newly acquired house, and it would be the location for our secret Santa event. Group A wasn't thrilled about the week of lies and secrecy over something we had initially believed was an Airbnb we were expected to fund. Group B is not happy with us, claiming that we acted essentially like babies for not being more supportive of their actions in getting this house for our event. Am I the asshole for making them feel disappointed in us by reacting in a disgruntled, annoyed manner? Not the asshole. This is weird as fuck info. The planner had recently purchased a house where everyone in Group B would be moving in. Why? Are you guys, like, YouTube influencers or something? Not the asshole. It's weird that this was a secret. Presumably if Group A had simply been told Group B's plan from the beginning there would be no issue. Anyone in Group B could have come forward and said, "Hey, we're all going in on a house together so finances are tight." But there's plenty of space, so we're happy to host and save everyone the extra cost this year. Easy grown-up discussion. If you all want to stay friends, I'd try to discuss why it felt uncomfortable, but otherwise chalk it up to poor communication on their part and move on. This is a very confusing story. Info. This is formatted kind of strangely to the point it's confusing. Are you in Group A? You also only specify what the groups did and not specifically your actions, the latter of which we are supposed to be judging. Not the asshole. The lack of communication and transparency when directly requested is total BS. Their name-calling was projection of their own actions here. While it would have been fun to surprise people with, "So, we bought a house. And we want to host," them doubling down on radio silence here was the asshole move. I'd speak with the remainder of Group A and find a way to make a joint statement that addresses the secrecy and lies about how they handled what should have otherwise been something to celebrate. Their continued insistence on presenting it as an Airbnb that we needed to contribute $60 per person toward. Jay also told us that part of the so-called surprise was that we wouldn't actually need to pay anything. So are you expected to pay or not? Am I the asshole for asking my mom to text before coming into my home? I, 26 female, live with my partner, 25 male, about 3 hours away from my parents. Today, my parents were coming to visit to celebrate my birthday. They said they would get to the house between 3 and 4, so my partner and I planned a lunch with his parents for earlier in the afternoon. At about 2 p.m., I get a live 360 notice. I check the app and my parents have been at my house for about half an hour. Some context. I tend to feel a bit more sensitive around needing to feel that my home is my space. When we moved in, my mom wanted a key, but I wanted the decision of spare keys to be made between me and my partner and asked her to wait and let us talk. She went out that afternoon and made herself a key along with several others which she gave to different family members she felt should have keys. So I am already a bit more sensitive to feeling a need to have control around my home. Anyway, today I called my mom and tried to keep things light by laughing and saying, "Oh mom, you're supposed to text me before you just go in, silly." But I could tell this upset her and she said she didn't know that was a rule. I was smiling and trying to stay light and I just said, "That's okay. Just in future can you text me when you get there and are going in if we're not home?" I tried to make some other small talk but she was upset and so we hung up. I received a text shortly after saying along the lines of, "I do not feel welcome at your house and so I'm leaving. I would never ask you to text me before coming into my home. We will be leaving the cupcakes and gift. We are going to see your brother and then we'll be going home." I feel sick and anxious. I'm not sure if this is an unreasonable boundary to set, though I tried to be as kind and lighthearted as possible with it. I love my mom and all she does for me. At the same time, this is also my partner's home. To me, I feel respected and recognized as an individual when my parents just let me know they have arrived and are going in when I'm not home. I will be talking this through with my psychologist, but in the meantime, Aida? Edit. I appreciate all of the feedback and concerns. I do know who has access to these keys, and am not worried about any safety issues. They are people my partner and I would have considered sharing keys with ourselves, but would have wanted to make that decision independently. At this point, we are moving in a few months so it's not worth changing the locks. I do see the move as an opportunity to reinforce that I am not comfortable with anyone making keys but as and that we will decide who receives these keys. I am wondering if you should have discussed boundaries with her after she made keys and handed them out to worthy family members. What the fuck does that for someone else's home? Overall, not the asshole. It's rude to assume someone can just waltz in anytime. Not the asshole. Life 360. Uninstall. She went out that afternoon and made herself a key along with several others which she gave to different family members she felt should have keys. Re-pin your locks. Frankly, that level of overstepping would result in her never being invited back to my property again. But I'm comfortable with setting and enforcing boundaries. I do not feel welcome at your house. Good? She shouldn't, absent you opening the door and letting her in. Not the asshole. Change your locks ASAP. This is a very basic and normal boundary to have. My parents and I love and respect each other, and we always communicate before visiting because we are adults. Your mother already crossed a very serious line by stealing your keys and giving multiple people access to you and your partner's home without permission? That is completely unacceptable, and your mom should be the one feeling anxious about your justified anger. What on earth? You and your partner deserve better than this, and honestly, if I were your partner I wouldn't tolerate this at all. The idea of random people having keys to my home and entering at any time is horrifying. Good luck, you've got this. Change the locks. Don't tell her. Don't give her any of the new keys. Guard your keys in the future. Clearly she does not respect your boundaries. Not the asshole. I understand that some families tend to bend boundaries, but making key copies without your permission to give out to other family members? Hell no. I'm a little confused about the first part though because that sounds like it could be a miscommunication. Was it assumed that you would still be out at lunch when they arrived? Or you thought you'd be home by the time they arrived, but then they arrived early and let themselves in? Either way, you communicated your boundaries clearly after the fact, but it doesn't sound like your mom took it well. I'm still shocked you didn't change the locks when she gave keys to other people without your knowledge or permission. Not the asshole.